Today we are here to talk about a monumental piece of media. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most popular kids horror movies of all time. Arguably one of the most popular kids movies of all times from what I've researched. This one was a very big deal because the IP we're talking about, and an IP that I'm known for, Goosebumps, did not ever have a movie made. And in fact, having a Goosebumps viewing experience was completely absent up until the end of the old TV show. And we did not get anything since then. And there was plenty of scripts, plenty of news, plenty of talk in hand as to what the Goosebumps movie was going to be. We read about various different scripts that never got made. We know about a George Romero film that was supposed to be an adaptation of Dead House that never got made. That breaks my heart especially, but I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. And now we're gonna be talking about the movie that did come out. Became very popular, a very big hit. I know a lot of younger audience and fans really love this one because this is what introduced some of them into the love of Goosebumps. I know some of the older audiences had a mix of reviews, but from what I read and seen on Reddit, Discord, YouTube, is mostly positive. And now we're going to be getting into my thoughts behind it. And that means we're going to be talking about Goosebumps 2015. We're finally here, people. I was putting off watching this one for a while because I heard about the plot and I wasn't really that big of a fan. It didn't really intrigue me as much. But now that we're finally here, now that we can finally enjoy and view this experience, and I can talk about it, I have to say I had a pretty good time. I thought it was pretty fun. I thought it was pretty interesting. And I would recommend it to you guys. I think it's a fun time. If I saw this in theaters, I would have had fun, whether I went to go see it in theaters with my friends, or even if I was just hanging out with my friends, we had some snacks, we had a night where we weren't doing anything, and we decided to watch it. I enjoyed myself watching this movie. But I do think that it's better as a standalone movie when you look at it. I think as an individual movie, it's more fun, it's better, it's more memorable. But because it's tied to Goosebumps, and I am a Goosebumps fan, I think it actually diminished me liking it quite a bit. Because as a Goosebumps fan, it felt like Rob Letterman and the group of workers, while they did make a good film, and while it is fun, as a Goosebumps film, I think it's kind of lacking. It took some shortcuts. There were some things that I wasn't too big of a fan of, and I feel like there was a lot of missed opportunity. But the product isn't bad. In fact, I think it's pretty good. So do I recommend you watch it? Yeah, of course. A lot of you have probably already seen it. You and your mamas and families have all probably watched it, maybe multiple times by now. But for those of you who haven't, I suggest you go check it out. And for those of you who haven't seen it in a while, go rewatch it. I still think you'd have a fun time. But without further ado, let's talk about the plot synopsis without giving too much away, and then I'll go into some detail about my thoughts. So the plot opens up with a kid named Zach. Now, Zach is moving away from a place he used to live. I believe it's New York, from what I can remember. But Zach and his mother are basically moving into this new neighborhood. He's going to be starting at a new school. And his mom, I believe, is part of the faculty. I believe she's the assistant principal or something. And he's kind of nervous about it. He feels a little bit embarrassed about his mom, being in the school, a big part of the school, because then it kind of feels awkward that one of your family members is there. So he's kind of not looking forward to that. And I believe he is not missing a father figure. I can't remember if he died or if something happened to him, but he's missing a father figure in his life. Keep in mind, I watched the first 20 minutes of this movie a while back, and I finished the rest of it yesterday when I had time. So it's been a while. But he's moving into a new school, and they move right next door to this kind of dingy, kind of weird looking house. The neighbor seems to be this older guy with glasses who's a little bit unfriendly, a little bit standoffish, but his daughter is named Hannah, and Hannah and Zach pretty much get along. You get the hint that they probably like each other. They probably have feelings for each other. Hannah's kind of like a shut-in. Her father is very overprotective, doesn't let her do a lot of stuff, and Zach's mother is kind of the same way. She's very overprotective, a little bit too overbearing on him, and he kind of wants more of that freedom, and he thinks that Hannah would be a great friend, or potentially more, to get to know. And finally, you get to the high school, you get to the big pep rally, which is introducing, the school to their new, again, faculty member, which is Zach's mom. And Zach gets introduced to a kid named Champ. Now, Champ is a very sort of goofy, nerdy, but kind of charming kid. He's played by Ryan Lee. Ryan Lee, I've seen in so much different stuff growing up. He was in the Titanium music video. He was in The Haunting Hour and The Imaginary Friend. You'll see him a lot in a lot of different stuff. And he's appearing in this movie as well. So always good to see Ryan Lee. I'm a fan of him as an actor. And I like him a lot. He seems like a nice guy. So he's here playing Champ, again, a nerdy, kind of goofy guy, but he's got charisma. He is funny in a very sort of awkward, over-the-top way. And again, he's kind of like that sidekick. You get this buddy cop kind of thing going on with Zach and Champ. And they're preparing for this dance that's coming up. Champ is looking forward to going to this dance, getting with some ladies, getting dressed up, dancing, having a good time. They also play a song which I absolutely love, which is what I used in my short yesterday. You know, dance till you're dead. Dun, dun, dun. I rock with it, bro. It's an old song, but I rock with it. Don't judge me. They're getting ready for this dance, and obviously he tells Zach, you know what? Hey, man, you gotta join me, bro. You know, you and I can get along. We can be best friends. Let's go to this dance. You get a girl, I get a girl. You know, we'll have a good time. And then they decide, you know, we're gonna meet up. However, what ends up happening is that because Zach is interested in Hannah, he's thinking about maybe asking her out, maybe trying to get her over there. But then he notices that she has this weird sort of yelling match with her father inside of the house. And this sort of makes him suspicious because earlier when he was talking to Hannah, she was basically pulled away from talking to Zach, and instead her father was basically telling him to stay away and don't talk to his daughter. And they snuck out into the woods anyway and had a good time and stuff. So pause, not like that, but they enjoyed each other's company. Pause again, not like that. Get your mind out the gutter, all right? And that's what makes him suspicious. He thinks that her father may be a little bit of a lunatic and maybe a little bit crazy. So he decides, you know what, we got to rescue her, bro. I think, you know, her father has locked her in the house. Maybe he might be abusing her or what else. He is not really sure. So he calls the police on him. The police come. Obviously, they all get warded off. The police are kind of dumb, kind of goofy on purpose. And of course, the whole situation's absurd. You know, there's no way that they can prove the daughter is going through anything with her father. And they misinterpret a lot of things. And eventually, Champ and Zach decide to break in to Hannah's house while her dad is away. And when they go into the basement area to kind of go get her out of the house, they see all these bear traps. They see all these unique antique items. And then they realize, like, what's up with this? Why is there all these bear traps? Why does it look so dingy and creepy? What's up with this guy and this family? And they head up to this, I guess, library, office, den place. And there's all these different books that have these locks on them. And these books turn out to be Goosebumps manuscripts. That's right. Cuckoo Clock of Doom, Go Eat Worms, Monster Blood, Werewolf of Fever Swamp, Haunted Mask, Night of the Living Dummy. All those books are there. Champ right away recognizes it. He checks out the books and he's like, yo, man, this is Goosebumps. That means R.L. Stine is her dad, bro. The famous author that went missing a while back. So he's playing R.L. Stine, of course. Jack Black is the father, playing R.L. Stine up. I love Jack Black as an actor. I love most of his roles. I love him as a guy, too. As R.L. Stine, I'm not that big of a fan. But we'll get to that in a bit. Basically, they find out about these books, and they accidentally break one of the locks and open it up, and it's the Abominable Snowman of Pasadena book. And Hannah comes in. Hannah is basically like, yo, you guys need to get out of here. What are you doing here? And they're like, well, we thought your dad, you know, locked you in the room. Are you sure you're okay? She's like, yeah, we're okay. But you got to leave. Otherwise, if he comes back, he's going to get you guys in trouble. And then all of a sudden, the book starts lighting up. And this vortex of snow starts flying out of the book. And this 9-foot-tall Yeti comes out. And it's none other than the Abominable Snowman from Pasadena, coming out of the book in real life in his full hulking CGI glory. He starts rampaging around the house and breaks out, and then they have to go retrieve the Abominable Snowman. Hannah explains that the books actually come to life. There are real life monsters and ghouls inside of there, and that's why these books are locked up. So now they have to go chase down the Abominable Snowman. You get to this hockey ring, and you get a lot of different goofy scenes involving the Abominable Snowman being outsmarted by these 3 kids. They use hockey sticks, they use Zamboni, they use the ice against them, and they use like a 6-foot-tall plate glass wall thing that he slams into, even though he's 9 foot tall. And then he realizes, oh yeah, I can look over. Goofy, kind of meant to be more so like a Looney Tunes type of chase scene. And he's obviously hungry, trying to get revenge. And then they find out that through her dad coming back into the hockey ring and capturing the abominable snowman, that these books within close range can capture him. However, what they didn't know is that one of the books in the den got knocked down as they were chasing after the abominable snowman, and the lock broke open. And of course, none other, it was the Night of the Living Dummy book. And guess who came out of it? Mr. What? No, it was Slappy, of course. It's the Slappy show, of course. Slappy comes out, they get back to the house, and Slappy is ready. He's ready to cause some chaos, some mischief. He's ready to go, and he finds out that they want to capture him back in there, especially Stein, and he goes, whoa, yo, Papa, you trying to put me back in? You and I are similar. We're supposed to be on the wavelength of causing chaos. No, I'm not finna go back in. We finna cause trouble in this town. You're not gonna stop me. And it gets into pure chaos after that. Slappy grabs all the books, starts releasing them around town, and you get into a bunch of different monster encounters. And Slappy's pretty intimidating in this movie. They gave him super speed. Like when the lights flash or turn off, he can just teleport. He's got anime villain level of flash step and super speed. Pretty wild. I don't know why they gave it to him, but I guess it makes him more intimidating, so. But yeah, he starts causing chaos around town, and now it's their job to go round up all the monsters, find a way to stop Slappy and all of the creatures that Stein created, and it leads them down into a path of chaos, a wild adventure, and a moral by the end of the story. So that's the plot without giving too much away. Now, what do I think about it? Again, this is pretty fun. Some of the highlight scenes in this movie, I have to say that the praying mantis, all the praying mantis scenes involving this giant praying mantis, which is from the Shocker on Shock Street cover, are very good. It's a very intimidating kaiju type of villain. There's a Ferris wheel, Ferris wheel scene in the climax of the movie that was pretty intense and pretty wild. The blob that ate everyone was pretty cool. There's quite a bit of monsters that are cool. I like all three of the main characters, Champ, Zach, and Hannah. Champ, Zach, and Hannah are all good actors. They all do a good job playing the kid roles, and I actually resonated with them quite a bit. I actually like all three of them as a trio, and honest to God, if they were able to hire, these actors, I think it's Ryan Lee, Dylan Mignette, and I forgot the name of Hannah, but if they could, Loki, she looks like a younger version of Mia Kunis or whatever, Ashton Kutcher's wife. She looks like a younger version of Ashton Kutcher's wife. You guys notice that they look oddly similar. I don't know. But you get a trio of them in future movies or even the future TV show. I would love that. I love them as a trio. I think they do a good job for the Goosebumps. Champ is funny, despite him being cringy, over the top, and corny. Ryan Lee does a good job at being charismatic, and he does a good job. Champ is pretty funny, pretty enjoyable. Zach as a main character is sort of but I think he does a good enough job as playing that lead role. And Hannah's pretty good. And Hannah actually has an aspect to her character, and there's a revelation later in the story which I thought was a really smart implementation of a Goosebumps book. I thought that was really well done, and I saw that and I was like, okay, all right, y'all, all right, Rob Letterman, I'm gonna give you props. That was a good way to implement a Goosebumps book involving her. If you can't tell already what she's a part of, you'll figure it out. For some of you who are veterans, Goosebumps fans, you'll probably figure out what I'm talking about. But that was well done. There's an aunt in the story. I think Zach's aunt. She's pretty funny, pretty quirky. May or may not end up being a love interest for Stein. She's quite fun. I quite enjoy her. She did a good enough job. And this movie's fun. It has a lot of fun adventure scenes. I like the climax. I like the ending to it. It's just overall, it's just a fun ride. It feels like a roller coaster more than an actual movie, which for some people could be better, some people could be worse. For me, I'm sort of in the middle. I think it's good, but not that good. I think the roller coaster aspect just makes it a fun ride, makes it a good time in the theaters. And really, that's all you could ask for a movie like this. So I can see that. But as a Goosebumps fan, I do have a few negatives with this movie. The first being, I think that the monsters are pretty underutilized and not done in such a good way. The Abominable Snowman of Pasadena is a huge mascot figure and a big character, and there's a focus on him. The way he's treated in that opening hockey scene, he's treated like a bumbling idiot monkey. It's less so of this intimidating Yeti figure that you get towards the beginning rampage in R.L. Stein's house to when they get to the hockey ring. He's just sort of like a bumbling idiot. He gets like outsmarted by these kids in some of the most dumb ways. They use, again, hockey sticks, a freaking Zamboni, and a glass plate to basically clown on the abominable snowman. And they even make him slide into the damn goalie ring, the goalie net. He just slams right in there as if he's a hockey puck. I mean, they were treating this man like a fumbling idiot. Then you got the werewolf of Fever Swamp, which appears in that grocery store scene. That grocery store clip on YouTube has 525 million views. A Goosebumps clip has as many views as a Billboard Top 100 hot music video. That's how you know the movie's popular. But this Werewolf of Fever Swamp in the grocery store has some wonky looking CGI. Like, there's some CGI moments involving the werewolf that look especially not that good. The snowman was okay. Some scenes involving Slappy are alright. There's other scenes like the praying mantis that look fine, mostly because it's done in darker settings with the mantis, so it looks better. But in this bright, I don't know, grocery store with these contrasting colors all around. The snowman too was okay because it was done in a hockey ring with ice. But here there's a bunch of contrasting colors. The werewolf just looks weird. There's a lot of wonky points for the CGI. And for some reason, the Werewolf of Fever Swamp is barking like a dog. Why is a werewolf barking? This is not the barking ghost. It's clearly said to be the Werewolf of Fever Swamp. Why is the werewolf barking? That has to be the most unintimidating, stupid decision I've seen out of one of the monsters in these movies, or just period. It's a werewolf. It's supposed to be growling. It's supposed to be howling. It's supposed to be roaring. Hell, even in the Werewolf of Fever Swamp episode, when they were using the, sped up or altered pig sounds with the growling, that's way more intimidating. Or not pig sounds, but like, it was like pig and like bull. There was a lot of bull sounds involving the werewolf. And then they included roaring and growling and howling, of course. But that's way more intimidating than a freaking werewolf barking at the main characters, which is just stupid. And they were trying to make him cool, because when he encounters the main characters in a back alley, he's like dragging his claws around these two trailers of the semi-trucks, trying to be like some badass Puss in Boots death with the sights scene. Freddy Krueger type of scene, trying to be cool. But when you're barking at the villains, it's really hard to take you seriously. And then R.L. Stine is not my favorite. I love Jack Black, again, as an actor, as a person, but I think R.L. Stine's portrayal in the movie is kind of annoying. He has some of the worst lines. Like, his lines don't really hit. They just seem more so cringy, and despite Jack Black being funny, he's not really that funny with the material that they gave him in terms of the script. Compared to Champ. Champ is naturally funnier than R.L. Stine here, even though Champ is played by frickin' Ryan Lee and R.L. Stine's played by Jack Black. Champ is funnier than him. The aunt of Zach is funnier than R.L. Stine, so R.L. Stine is more so annoying. He's kind of like this overly negative, grumpy old man that's always just sort of complaining and very snappy and very... Like, every time you see Jack Black, there's only one emotion. Either he's going the rock face, or angry, or like, that's how he acts, bro. And that to me is more so annoying. I mean, to little kids, they probably think that he's funny, but as like an adult watching, he's more so annoying. And even when I can get into the lens of obviously kids' mindsets, I mean, I love all three main characters. They're pretty corny at times, but I still like them. Jack Black, he seemed like he was kind of wasted in this movie. He didn't really play as good of an R.L. Stine as I think they could have made him do. And that's not his fault, again. It's just the script he got. He has most of the cringier lines. Not really as funny, more so cheesy. And again, he's just sort of a one-note, one-trick pony. So I wasn't really that big of a fan of him. And some of the monsters they focus on in the movie, again, the fact that I'm telling you, Rob Letterman does not respect the Haunted Mask. The Haunted Mask had a cut scene from the movie, and that too, it was like a minor scene. The Haunted Mask, one of the most iconic Goosebumps books and villains, has a minor scene in the movie, which got cut in turn for the Slappy Show, the Abominable Snowman, the werewolf, and a freaking giant mantis. Okay. Whatever you want to focus on, I guess, but I felt like there could have been cooler monsters, more dope monsters that could have been well used. The body squeezers are turned into these glass jar-headed, stupid-looking aliens. They look like the alien from the beginning of Ben 10 Alien Force, the plumber guy, who when the water leaked out, he disappeared. That's what they look like. And they're using freeze beams and all this stuff. They don't look like the Tim Jacobus cover of what the body squeezers look like, which are like these like monstrous frog-looking giant creatures with sharp claws and jagged fangs and teeth. And they don't do the body squeezing part. You know, I haven't read Body Squeezers, but I know that they have a feature where they can possess human hosts. They don't do that stuff. They just use freeze beams like they're some sort of normal aliens. And then when you look up on the wiki, they are the body squeezers. They're literally, those are the body squeezers. That's what they say they are. Not a good decision. So I did not like that. And again, I feel like a lot of the monsters are just sort of shoo-in in there. Like they're just sort of afterthoughts. They're not really that well utilized. There's just a few monsters that are the focus. Again, the Werewolf of Fever Swamp, Abominable Snowman, Slappy, of course. But Slappy was, I think, even used better in the sequel. In the sequel, Haunted Halloween, Slappy's done in a much better way. So that's just my thoughts. But those are my negatives with the film. Overall, again, it evens out to a 7.5 out of 10, which is a pretty good score. I recommend it. It's a fun time. But do I think it's as good as people hype it up to be sometimes? Nah. I can see why some people like it, especially if it's your introduction. There's that aspect of nostalgia. It was the gateway thing for you. But for me personally, I wasn't that big of a fan of it. I still like it. I still enjoy it. But not as good as it could have been. There's definitely some wasted potential. And honestly, I don't care if it's a hot take. I don't care if it's a white horse. I think people are high. Haunted Halloween was a much better Goosebumps movie, and I thought it was just a much better movie overall. Slappy was an anime villain in the Haunted Halloween. They took all the best traits of Slappy, gave him all these cool powers, even made him use his brain quite a bit, and made him so cool and so creepy and so ominous, and then turned it into like a wild version of Halloween Town with the second half, which I thought was really, really fun. The main characters in this movie are quite a bit better than the ones in Haunted Halloween, but the story itself and the plotline is better in that one, in my opinion, and therefore gave it a much better score. But that's all I have. I hope you guys enjoyed. We finally hit a remarkable review here, and yeah, if you guys have any thoughts, let me know down below. How do you feel about Goosebumps 2015? Do you disagree with me? Do you agree with me? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you feel in the middle like I did? And was it your gateway or was it not your gateway? How do you think it helped out the Goosebumps films? It did do this whole sort of Jumanji, fake-off, rip-off Jumanji shit, which I'm not really that fan of. You know, Jumanji, Zathura, and Goosebumps. Zathura is the best one. That's a fact. I'm very nostalgic for Zathura. I've seen Zathura like 15 times as a kid, but I love Zathura, and I need to rewatch it as an adult because I've not seen it in a long time. But it's the best one out of all of them. Zorgon's Killer Robots in Space. And I think Josh Hutcherson, a young Josh Hutcherson, is in there. Solid. But Goosebumps 2015, it's all right. It's okay. I feel like they should kind of get rid of this whole Jumanji thing. I wish they would have done something more like Haunted Halloween, which felt more like an original, actual Goosebumps story that was much better done. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Hope you guys enjoyed. I have some other content on my channel. If you enjoyed, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It would mean very much a lot to me. It's a free way to support me. And we're close to 200 subscribers, so I'm praying we can hit that soon. I'll make a celebration video for that. And yeah, deuces. Really, the best part of this whole movie is just that dancing scene with Heads Will Roll, you know. Dance, tell your dad. Dun, 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 dun. I love that song, man. You saw me dancing to it yesterday in the reel. I love that song, bro. Don't judge me, all right? Cool Kids, Echo Smith, and that one. Peak childhood.